Vidya, what are your views on the latest trend which is happening in the industry and the recruitment? Offer shopping and hopping. One person has offer 2-3. Again, still they are hopping and shopping.
2-3 years ago, I think when the software industry was booming, post-COVID time, there's a saying in Bangalore: if you throw a stone, the person it would hit would be a 15th software engineer, but all of them would have multiple offers in their hands already.
Really? Okay.
That's how bad it was at that point of time. People had multiple offers. And I've seen this, people posting on LinkedIn, my current salary is 5 lakh rupees, but I have an offer in hand of 55 lakh rupees.
Where salary is very confidential part of your career.
It is, but people boast about it as well, so right? So, and that is only due to offer shopping as such. People don't really think how would it affect others. A recruiter's life is not easy. I might be wrong in saying this, but I'm a little fortunate that I've never been a recruiter in my life. I've managed recruiters throughout my life, but I've never been a recruiter. Sometimes I feel sorry for the recruiters because of the amount of pressure they go through.
Yes.
You have 30, 40, 50 roles that you have to hire for within a month. You do drives. Every weekend you do a drive. Weekdays you do drives. And on the date of joining, you don't see the candidate.
This is the book written by Vidya Sager. Please go ahead. There's a copy in the market you can buy, and you can go online as well,
Yes,
right?
Amazon,
and you can
Flipkart.
have a read. So please give your comments. So because Vidya has really put all his efforts to read about the book. So grab your copy.
Rolling and action.
Welcome back once again to my podcast, Noble. And guess what? Who is here? We have a new guest here, Vidya Sager. And welcome to the show, Vidya. And
Thank
it's
you,
a
thank
great honor to have you on our show.
Absolutely. The honor is all mine. Thank you so much for inviting me here. I'm glad I could be a part of this new innovation, a new, podcast of yours. I'm really happy.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I recently discovered that you have launched your book. Congratulations for that.
Thank you so much.
So I really want to know your journey, that how you started and how this book happened.
Sure. So, for those who don't know, my name is Vidya Sagar, of course, you introduced me, but I come with over 16 years of corporate experience where I worked with, multi-billion dollar organizations like HSBC,
Okay.
AB InBev, and currently I'm with Maersk. So through these 16 years, I've lent my heart and soul out for all the organizations that I worked in. I spent more than 13 years in talent acquisition, leading people as a manager, as a people manager, as such, groomed teams, groomed several people to become people managers. And through the journey, there is something that I missed on, right? So I come from I wouldn't call it very humble, but a humble background, because my father worked in a factory. He worked for over 30 years, 32 years actually, in a factory, doing physical work. And that's where we grew, right? In a colony. We come from that middle class mindset, right? So
Yes.
where you always think that there is always room to grow.
Yes.
And I think that helped me a lot. We'll talk about that also eventually. But given that I come from such background, I always had this thought process in my mind right from the beginning. I think after my schooling is done, is to tell stories. I always wanted to do that, and it happened in various phases. I've written a couple of stories for short films in the past. I've written a couple of plays,
Okay.
but never to personal fulfillment, right? So you always have a lot of thoughts in your mind that you want to put on paper, but because of that, the amount of time that you spent on your work, it becomes quite difficult for you to pull some time out for your personal fulfillment as well, which I also fell into that trap of things, and I never managed to do that. But I think a couple of years ago, my daughter now is 9, she turns 9, and when I started telling her stories about different things, because there's so many stories in my head I'd love to share with her, when I started telling her these stories, she was like, why can't we put these on paper?
Wow.
She reads storybooks,
A 9
a
years
lot of them.
old daughter. Okay.
She's 9 now. Probably when she asked this question, she must be 7.
Yeah.
Right? She reads a lot of books back then, and even now she does a lot of that. And she asked, why don't we write our own books? Right? She loves comics. Why don't you come up with your own comic or your own storybook? I was like, yeah, I always had the thought, but I've never put it on paper. Right? So I decided, okay, let me try. So I think last year, over a period of 10 to 12 months, I've started working on this. a script for myself. There are various iterations of the book itself. I think I went through around 4 drafts of the book, and finally I managed to get this book out. If it's okay, I'll just show
Yeah,
that
yeah, yes, please.
as well.
Yes, sure.
So this is the book. It's called
Okay.
The Harmony 6 and the Legacy of Iron Man of India.
Okay.
So it talks about Sardar Patel,
Yeah.
who I take a lot of life lessons from.
Mhm.
And it talks about the story of 6 kids who get lost on a school journey
Okay.
and meet an extraordinary individual who takes them through the life of Sardar Patel. My kid liked it, and a lot of others who read the initial draft liked it, so I'm hoping that people like it as well. But this is not the only story that I want to tell. Honestly, there are a lot of things that as a child, that I read, I heard, that I see that kids today don't get to hear. There are a lot of people who have heard of Gandhiji,
Yeah.
Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose probably because he is famous.
Yes.
How many people know what Sardar Patel did for the country? How
Very
many
few.
people know? I can ask you this question as well. Have you heard of freedom fighters like, let's say, Khudiram Bose? People heard of him because there's a movie that is made around him. But have people heard about somebody called Ullaskar Dutt? No.
Probably not.
Probably not, right?
Yeah.
So there are very few people who might have even known this name. So that's what, inspires me to tell these stories about, right? So I want to tell stories about people who we forgot about. I want to tell stories to children because that's the right age when you can actually tell them and they can learn from there. The stories of heroes who are forgotten by this generation or even our generation as such. I want to tell these stories to make sure that people are inspired by the heroics of them. What we see, people, I think this is something I say as well. We know more about Avengers or any other fictional
Yes,
characters or
yes.
fictional heroes than we know about our own heroes from the past.
The real heroes.
The real heroes of the past, right? So that's where these thoughts come from. That's where these ideas of the books come from. I have like 5 to 6 books planned. This is the first of many that has
Oh,
come. I'm
great,
hoping
okay.
that people get to read these stories and have their kids read these stories as well. And I hope, like I wrote in the book, that people take these to their dinner tables and talk about these stories,
Yeah.
with their family and friends. So that's how the book has come. While writing, as a matter of fact, I think after 6 months of a lot of struggle to be put in, I thought this is not happening. I thought I'll give it up. Probably it's not for me because you have to balance your work on one side, you have to balance your family on the other side, and this is like an extra. But then my wife made me realize that the probable reason why you're not able to complete is because you're treating this as a side project.
Mhm.
This is not a side project, it's a passion. You want to go and live your passion. You don't want to treat your side project as project as a side project, or a passion as a side project. You would not be able to give it enough time or give it enough priority if you do that. And that's when I started making sure that I spend at least 1 to 2 hours on a day-to-day basis on the book. Let it be research, let it be writing a few chapters, let it be editing it, let it be speaking with people that I know of, to share the book with them and talk about it with them and get feedback from them. I made sure that I spent at least 1 to 2 hours on a daily basis for almost 3 months and to ensure that I get the final draft ready. So I think that's a lesson learned for me, that if you want to do something, don't think of it as like a side project, or don't think of it as a non-priority one. Your passion has to go hand in hand with your living as well, right? So
Okay.
you do a job for your living, but at the same time, if there is something else, like a lot of people love photography,
Yes.
a lot of people like to make films, a lot of people like to talk, sing. Do that, right? So don't keep them in the back bench or back burner for a long period. What happens if you do that? You will lose that interest on that passion, because you will fall into that, I think somebody told this to me, and it makes a lot of sense. If you don't love your job, buy a home. You'll immediately love your job because you have EMIs to pay.
You have a responsibility.
You now have a responsibility to do. So we fall into that trap of such things, right? Those responsibilities, and we always ignore our passions. I think we always need to make sure that we prioritize things accordingly. Give time for your work, give time for your passion, give time for your family as well.
Yeah.
Ensure that nothing is left behind, right? There's no right time to start or stop something. There's always time just to keep going with it, right?
Okay.
There's always time for you to sit, take one step back, analyze the things again, and go back and onto the blackboard, sketch things down as to
Okay.
how do you want to plan this again ahead, and then restart the work if you have to, but never stop doing it.
Okay.
I think that's a big lesson that I learned when I started writing this book, and finally I'm glad that it's out.
Yes.
I'm hoping that children would learn a lot about Sardar Patel from this book.
Definitely, and we are also going to read
Absolutely,
the book. Yes,
absolutely.
yeah. So, would you like to give credit to your wife, of course, for the push, for the motivation?
Oh yes, I think I already did.
We
in
should
the
not forget our lady of the house.
Definitely not. I think one thing that I think we all forget about is probably during our parents' times, the responsibilities of the household were clear. Men usually used to earn,
Yes.
women used to take the household work, so responsibility was divided equally. Now what is happening, and this is something we all talk but we don't act upon. Men work, women work,
Still, women take care.
women do the household work as well. Women take care of the kids. Women usually do the cooking in the house, take care of the rest of the things that happen in the house. And women are held responsible for how the child is grown as well,
Yes.
right? And people never say, hey, your dad didn't, grow you up well, right? So your dad did not take care of you well. People always say that your mother did not raise you well.
Yeah, all the PTAs are
Yeah,
to be
correct.
hosted by mothers.
Correct.
Yes.
So it is unfair, I would say, and I am no, saint in this. I am also a culprit on doing some things of these, but at least I try to help my wife out certain times. Be it cooking, be it sometimes taking care of the children,
Or just being out there. Just being out
just
there.
being out there as well, right? So just listening
That,
to her.
Hey, I'm there behind
Correct.
you, always
Just
with you.
let her vent it out.
Yes.
Talk to me as such. But yeah, I think men, not just men, the society has to realize that women are doing more than what they used to do earlier. Now,
Yes.
people talk about equity, equality. I think we are way past that. We need to give probably more priority or more, recognition to women than we do to men.
Yes.
Because of the sheer amount of responsibility that they take upon. Not the work. It's not just about the work. It's about the responsibility,
Yes.
right? And I think I've given credit to my wife in the book as
that's
well,
great.
along with my daughter and my son as well. But she definitely, I think, would get most of the credit for me being able to complete the book as such.
Sure. So I can see the start push was from the daughter, and
Yes.
of course the center push was from the wife.
And my son is the one whom I'm writing the stories for, right? At the end of the
Great.
day, I want him to eventually, when he grows up, he's 3 now,
Okay.
but when he grows up, I want him to know about these people, unlike children who did not get to hear about them at all, right? So I
Yes.
want my son to grow in a world where all these forgotten heroes are recognized. They get the status that they have to get, and children know them. At the end of the day, I think that's all is important. People to know who somebody is, people to value who somebody is. I think that is what is missing right now.
Right.
So we don't care about, now we talk a lot about India and Pakistan fight that happened and all, but not many people know that it was Sardar Patel who actually unified the entire country. There were 500 princely states
Yes.
that were under British rule, and when India was given its freedom, Sardar Patel was the one who spoke with all these princely states and brought them together to make one unified India. So people have to know these stories, right? I
Right.
think that's the intent. So I have my daughter pushing me to start it,
Yes.
my wife who made sure I finished this, and my end audience is somebody like my son. So I think
Great.
my entire family is covered here.
Great. Congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
how it has helped Vidya from being into HR, the entire HR department, to a writer? How Vidya has changed from this journey?
I think one thing, like I said, it helped me understand how important it's for me to take time out of things, right? So while working is really important, making sure that I give my 100% to my work is really important, but it's also important for me to ensure that I take these things seriously. I take my writing seriously. At the same time, ensuring that the time that I spend on this project or this activity or this passion as such, let it be anything, book writing or anything as such, does not affect the others. It should not be like, okay, I spend 9 hours or 10 hours or 12 hours, whatever it is for my work, and then I spend 4 or 5 hours for my book, and I'm done. I don't have any more time for my family. It should not be that also.
Yeah.
So
right.
that's something that I realized while I was working, because I think the first few months when I was working on the book, I probably ended up spending a lot of time on the book and work and probably gave very less time for my family. Thanks to my family for understanding it, that this is also very important for me. But eventually I realized that it's not right. You don't spend enough time with your family. You don't give them enough priority. All it takes for you to ensure that you help them understand is one nice chat with them, one dinner that you sit along with them and have, take them out for a nice outing somewhere, just one day. Help them understand why this is important to you. They will understand, right? So I think that's what primarily changed. Other than that, I think most of it is something that has come out of who I am already. The book is who I am, and the book talks about
Your
what I
passion.
want. Yeah, what I want for kids to learn, what I want for people to understand as such.
Okay.
So I think that's what changed. There's only little bit, but it's more around prioritization, I would say.
Okay, great to know. So yes, looking forward that our audience, listens to this podcast, and of course about Vidya, his journey from being an HR, and of course the entire HR department you have led with different organizations and the clients, and then your books. So I'm really looking forward that our audience, of course, goes back and buy this book and read and have a nice comments on your profile.
Thank you.
So congratulations once again.
Thank you.
As your journey is into talent acquisition, so what are your views on the layoffs which is happening recently from different organizations, and the equation of hiring and the layoff, it is not correlating. What are your views on it, and how we can change this thought?
So I think there are a lot of misconceptions on why people lay off, employees, right? So, and these misconceptions or myths come from the idea that companies hire and fire, right? So that's what the market wording is, verbiage is, right? So people just say companies hire today and probably fire tomorrow.
Yes.
Why do companies lay off is something that we need to understand, right? So people don't know those. They do not have the understanding of the business, the market that is available for that particular sort of business. For any organization that you take, let it be an IT company, let it be a logistics company, let it be a manufacturing industry. Before people even comment on why companies are laying off, people need to go back and understand what is the core nature of the business of that organization.
Mm-hmm.
Why does the company need a certain set of employees to be hired? And if you don't know these type of business that the company handles, you wouldn't even understand why they're laying off those people as well. Usually layoffs happen for multiple reasons, right? One, roles become redundant.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, for example, you're an IT company and you hired, let's say, 200, 300 people to work on a particular project. After 2-3 years, your basic project is done. You've already built what you wanted to build. The product is out in the market.
Okay.
Now, when you do that, what would your 200-300 employees do? Natural attrition happens in an organization. Whatever percentage, 15, 20, 30, whatever percentage happens. But there's still a rest of the bunch of people that are available in the team, and they would be given opportunities within. There are projects that come up.
Yes, right.
So the teams would be asked to move on to the other projects. People would be asked to kind of look out for internal opportunities. People would not be laid off immediately, even if a project is done. Right? There are certain times when, particularly in service-based companies, even in IT companies, there are a lot of service-based IT companies where people are hired for a particular project only.
Mm-hmm.
So if company ABC has 1, 2, 3 clients for which they're doing projects, they hire 50, 60, 100 people, whatever are needed for that particular project only.
Mm-hmm.
So if the project is out of their hands, let's say the contract is ended, or the stakeholder or the company, the client has decided to take the services back from ABC organization and give it to some other organization, the current organization would not have the capacity to manage these set of individuals or to provide another project for these individuals. This is what happens in most cases.
Okay.
People hire for particular projects, the projects are done, the clients either pull off or there's no new project for them to tag these people to. People are given ample opportunity to find something internally. In many cases, managers and HR also try to find something internally for them. And post a given set of time is when people are asked to leave. Because not every organization can, have a bench. They don't have the resources or the capability to maintain a big bench of resources. Two, if we feel that the role has become redundant and there's no new project which will suit this particular set of profile, there's no point getting them to sit on bench as well, right? So these could be the two reasons why these companies usually, after a project is gone, would lay off. The second reason why companies usually lay off people is roles become redundant. Projects would be there,
Okay.
work would be there, but the work that, let's say I'm a talent acquisition manager, after a certain period of time, my company might not need my role because I've done everything that I have to do for that particular set of projects that I'm working on, or the set of work that we are working on, or the teams that I'm building. I'm done with that. My role has become redundant. What would the team do with me, right? What would the organization do with me? They would tell me, hey, do you have any other skills that we can look at for you to find another job for you? If I say yes, probably they'll give you opportunities to go and interview for those roles. If you don't have additional skills than what you're just working on, it becomes very difficult even for the organization to find an alternative role for you, and you get up being laid off. So because there is no understanding of these pointers out in the market, people just think, hey, yesterday company A laid off 5,000 people. This airline laid off 10,000 people. This company laid off 5. These are just numbers you're talking about. You don't understand how much rigorous thought process did the company go through for you to know the reason behind them being laid off, right? Those set of people being laid off. So it also brings to another point. Like I said, if you have an alternative skill, or if you're already grooming yourself for something else, another role for yourself, you would always find that opportunity internally itself, right? So there is always a scope. I'm not saying 100% everybody would get that opportunity, but there's always a scope for you to go ahead and attempt those interviews or conversations with people who already do different roles. If you're not attempting that, if you're not attempting to upskill yourself, if you're not attempting to improve your knowledge on something beyond your scope, you're always on the risk of getting axed off someday or the other, right?
Okay.
And particularly in today's environment where AI is on the verge of, I wouldn't call it taking off jobs or taking away jobs from people. I wouldn't call it that, but AI is on the verge of making a lot of jobs redundant, right? Earlier we used to have, I'm sure you've seen this as well. Being a part of talent acquisition, I've seen a time where a lot of activities that are being done by the recruiters, recruitment admins are all manual.
Yes.
So manually you have to enter point A, point B, point C,
Yes.
or manually you have to search for profiles from a particular
it was all
job portal
manual,
and all.
yes.
It's all manual.
Yeah.
Right now,
I've been there.
Yeah, you've been there.
Yes.
So right now it all can be done by AI. I don't need a particular individual to sit and do all that work. While many companies still prefer people sitting and doing that job because of the emotional connect or the human touch that you can give to the candidates, but it can be done by AI.
Yes.
So what are you doing as an individual when AI is coming and making your job redundant?
Okay.
What are you doing? You know that, what do you call this? The panic situation is coming towards you. What are you doing? Are you just panicking, or are you doing something else? Are you trying to move away from that panic mode to a learning mode? Are you trying to find an opportunity or a skill for yourself which will help you move to either the next level or to a different role from what you are currently in? That is a question that people have to ask themselves.
Okay.
Right? So that is what is currently missing, if you ask me.
Okay.
I know this raises a lot of questions for you also,
I
but
have, yes.
yeah, please.
Yeah.
But
So there are two
again,
questions again here. One is, the project got over, as you mentioned, and, suppose that 10 people were leading the project and they are not required. So here, are we not sounding company being a selfish that, okay, the project is done and now we don't need you? And second question is again, related to this, that the upskill. So why the company is not asking them to be on bench, or maybe 1 month we will help you to get the skill added from our end, because it is our responsibility to give you the job, because our one project got over and you need to shift to another project.
Correct.
So why can't we bring this change that company invest in the employees, get them trained and then get them placed, instead of asking them to laid off?
Correct. When as an organization, any organization as such, let it be a big, small, it doesn't matter. Any organization works with its employees. There are certain particular set of process. I wouldn't call them processes, but a way of work that they build for themselves. One of the most important things that organizations always invest in is learning.
Okay.
The problem with these sort of scenarios is people only realize that organizations are already spending a lot of amount of money and time in learning only when their job is at risk.
Yeah.
Till that point of time, people are busy doing their job. People are extremely, you spend 8, 10, 12 hours doing your job, but you don't spend 2 hours in a week to do something different.
You
To
mean to say
understand.
adding the skills?
It can be adding skills. It can be identifying what can I do, what else can I do, right? So let's say I'm an IT, I'm a software developer.
The market intelligence could be?
It could be, right?
be.
So I'm a software developer. Let's say I'm an expert in Java. How many years will Java keep leading the market?
A saturation will come.
A saturation will come.
Yes.
And you know that as a matter of fact.
Yes.
Because even
Everything
when you're
has
in
a
college,
saturation point, yes.
let's say you're in college, probably Java was not even there.
No.
Let's say
It was
Java
not
was
there.
probably there. If you're a Gen Z or a probably a late millennial as well,
Late millennial, of course.
you would know that Java is there.
Yes.
But there are other things coming. Python has come. There is something called R that has come. There are other things. .NET was on the verge of dying already,
Yes.
sort of, let's say. So there are several things that keep coming, right?
Yes.
It is not like when I was probably in school or college, this I'm talking about 2001 to 2009, when I finished my school to when I graduated out of college and all. Probably at that point of time, things were saturated.
Yes.
Java was there. It was there to be there forever.
It was
right?
just there for the
It was there,
namesake.
correct. No, it was there for a long term at that point of time because there's no new technology that is coming to overtake it at that point of time. Java was it, or .NET or VB, Visual Basic was it, right? But now when you look at it, AI is coming with new platforms or new technology on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Today you learn Python, doing it in one way, let's say. Tomorrow you have an alternative way of doing the same thing in a much easier way using AI.
Correct.
You know there is an expiry date for your skill.
Yeah.
Everybody has to know that. If you don't know that there is an expiry date for your skill, then you're probably doing it all wrong for yourself, right? You're not giving enough focus for you.
So you're just sitting back and just waiting for the panic button
Correct.
be on the red
Yeah,
alarm.
you're just waiting for the alarm to buzz, and the
Okay.
moment the alarm buzz, you press the panic button, and you're like, I'm giving up, right?
Okay.
That's not how it should be.
Okay.
Even any skill for that sake, right? Let's say, for example, you talked about recruiters. I mean, I was speaking about them as well earlier. Even they should know that there's an expiry date for the work that they do.
Yeah.
Everybody does, right? So when you know that, what you need to start doing, and this is where I quote one of my old people managers. My first job was at HSBC. I'll come to that journey also in a little while. But one of the people manager who I worked with, that was my first manager in my entire career.
Okay.
He said that if you're sitting and doing the same thing for a long period of time and you're not learning something new, you're doing injustice to yourself.
The monotonous
And
thing.
you're not just being monotonous.
Yeah.
You're doing injustice to yourself. You're doing injustice for the company because every year you expect some hike to be given.
Yeah.
Without learning anything new, to do the same job that I was doing 5 years ago, if I'm expecting 50% more salary through the course of 5 years, what justice are you doing to the company? Company can hire somebody at a lower cost for the job that you've done 5 years ago, which you're still doing, right? So he tells me at that point of time that you need to understand how much time does it take for you to learn the skill or the job that you're doing. How much time does it take for you to master that job? Once you mastered the job, how much time does it take for you to showcase that to people that you're the master? Then how much time does it take for you to train somebody in that job? You're out of that job after that. You have to move away.
Okay.
If you're still there after the job, you train somebody to do that job, that person will come kicking you, stating, hey, I'm ready for this now. What are you still doing here?
Okay.
Right? So you need to understand, once you pick up a job, it'll take probably 3 months for you to settle down.
Yes.
Right? You're new to this podcast now.
Yes.
Let's say it'll take 2-3 months for you to settle down.
Yeah, 6 months. I have
Right,
given
6
target
months.
to myself.
Correct. So you
Yes.
set a target for
Yeah,
yourself.
because altogether I'm handling individually the
Correct.
entire show. Yes.
Correct. So you know that there is a period for you to, sometimes we call it honeymoon period in some cases, but
Yeah.
that's actually the learning curve.
Yes,
right?
it's a learning.
So
yes.
it's for you
With
to,
every episode, I'm changing and learning. Yes.
correct. So once you know the learning curve, it's 6 months for you.
Yes.
From then on, you will start trying to be a master of this skill.
Yes.
Let's take you doing this podcast.
Yes.
You now know through these 6 months on how to deal with people, how to ask questions in a slightly different way, subtle way. Probably, how to ask questions people don't like to answer
The
them,
fiery
right?
questions.
Correct. So the viral questions that come out in the market, people probably don't want to ask them, right? But how can you subtly push them into your other questions so that you still get answers for that? You learn that, right?
Yes.
That'll take 6 months or 1 year, whatever time you decide, and then you became a master. Then you have to showcase to the world that I am a master. How would you showcase your performance? How do you judge your performance, right? So you will have certain, we call it KPIs in the
Industry,
corporate
yeah.
industry.
Industry, yes.
But you will have certain parameters which you decide that probably within 1.5 year or 2 years, I should have these many subscribers. My podcast should have these many views. I should have been done with these many podcasts already. And this much feedback that I've already received, I would have implemented this.
Yes.
This is the set of parameters example,
Yes.
right? Once you do that, you've already become a master.
Yeah.
Then you need to find somebody else who will do that job for you so that you can increase the way that you do these things, right?
Yes.
So that comes next. And once that is also done, you probably leave that job, whatever you're sitting
In the
and doing,
hosting, yes.
to somebody else,
Yes.
and you do something else, right?
The entire operations running.
Correct.
Yeah.
They run all by themselves, and you move on to doing something else.
Yes.
That's what every corporate employee should think and learn about.
Okay.
Right? You join a job, regardless of it's your first job, second job, 10th job. Even if you are a CEO of the organization, you have to first understand these 4 things. That's what my first manager told me. His name is Robin Joseph. I don't mind quoting him here.
Yes.
I learned
Yes.
crazy amount of things from him.
Credit
He's,
goes to him.
Absolutely. Robin, if you're listening to this, thank you so much for all the fun we had when you were my manager. But yeah, so you need to set deadlines for yourself. Those deadlines can vary. You might set 6 months for you to learn the skill. It might take 8 months. You might learn it in 4 months. If you learn it in a lesser time, keep that extra buffer period to continue doing that job, right?
Yes.
Don't leave it and don't move on to the next one
There's
immediately.
always a room for more improvement.
Correct.
Yes.
If you take 2 months more, it's all right. It's a new thing that you're doing. It's a new skill that you're learning. So let it, give it some more time if you have to. But don't waver from the flow. You continue that flow of learning, mastering, showing that you're a master, and then grooming somebody to get into that role of yours.
Okay.
Once you do these 4 things, you can then go and tell your boss, your corporate team that, hey, I've done all this. While doing all these 4, I've also been learning something. So in my last course of the 4th action, when I start mentoring or coaching somebody, I would also start understanding what is next for me. Let's say this entire process is taking 2 years. In the last part of the 2nd year, I would understand I'm a master of this one,
Yes.
but what's next for me, right?
Yes.
So that what is next for you will come in from different directions.
Okay.
One, through your market intel, like you said,
Yes.
you need to understand the market.
Yes.
You need to read through what's happening, the trends, industry trends, what is happening outside. At the same time, you need to also try to understand what are the hot baking skills in the market, right?
Yes.
Right now it's AI, ML.
AI and Power BI is
Power
too
BI,
much.
there are a lot of things,
Yeah.
right? So
but
I'm not
AI
going to.
is the hot topic.
AI
yes.
is the hot topic right now, right? So prompt engineering. Not many people talk about prompt engineering.
Yes.
Prompt engineers I heard, we have not hired anybody in the past, but I heard prompt engineers get paid very well.
Yes.
So there are several skills that you understand from the market. That these are the hot bomb skills at this point of time. They are the hot goods. They are like selling like hotcakes, right? So once you know that, you start understanding whether you would be a fit into that sort of thing. Does that suit your profile? Does that suit your personality? If yes, start understanding more about that particular skill or that particular platform, that particular technology. Once you start understanding that, you will know what takes for you to start being a person who can do that job,
Okay.
right? You do your market intel.
Yes.
You understand that, let's say, I'm just taking another example here. Let's say prompt engineering as an example, right? I feel that prompt engineering is my next course of action. I need to become a prompt engineer because that suits me. So what I do, I need to start understanding what is it that it takes to become a prompt engineer. Create a plan for you to start learning that. Think that you're back in college. That is
Okay.
your end graduation.
Okay.
That's your end certification.
Go back to the basics.
Go back to the basics. Start putting
End
everything
of the
on a
college
board.
and basic.
I would say go old school, put a board on your wall,
Okay.
start writing that
Okay.
this is what is prompt engineering example. These are the skills that are needed for that, prerequisites that I need to learn before I start learning that. These are post requisites. This is the course. These are various courses that are available. So you are jotting down a plan for yourself on how do you improve that skill? How do you learn that particular tech or a skill, right? So that's one avenue of how things will come to you.
Yes.
Like I said, there are many ways things, your next role will present itself, right?
Yes.
So that's one way. The second way, you don't know. You've done market intel, but you're confused. You have a manager. You have his manager or her manager, right? Or you have colleagues who are doing different things in their life right now. You have your schoolmates, your college mates who probably started like how you did, but are doing something else.
Yes.
Talk to them.
Yes.
Ask them, hey, I'm now, let's say, I've done this thing. There are, again, two situations where you've done these four things that we spoke about: learn, master, showcase, and groom.
Yes.
You're in the fourth stage and you're talking to people, or you're done with all this, you're stuck in that role for 4 or 5 years. Even then you do that, right? You talk to people. I'm in the rut right now. I'm
Okay.
stuck, stagnant, right? What do I do? What is next for me? Can you recommend me something? Talk to people, particularly people in your organization, and particularly people who have done something different, or your manager as such. Many people, I wouldn't say all of them, but people always see vertical growth as growth,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Not many people will see lateral
Yeah.
growth as growth.
That's a basic
It's a
human.
Tendency.
Yeah,
It's a human
tendency.
tendency, right? Many people see vertical growth as growth, and
Yeah.
I'm an individual contributor now. Then I want to become a team lead. Then I want to become a manager.
Yes.
Then I want to become a senior manager, AVP, whatever it is.
Yes.
The corporate ladder that lures you in
Yeah.
is what you always think of. There are not many people think of lateral growth as a growth. So when you know that, regardless of whether it's lateral growth or a vertical growth, when you know that person or that position is where I want to go, or that person is whom I want to talk to, be open with them. Talk to them, ask them these questions. I'm here, I'm not going anywhere, I'm stuck, or I want to learn.
Yes.
I want to be you. What do I do? Groom me, mentor me. Find these mentors, find these people who can actually help you out.
Yes.
Even if they're not in a capacity to help you out, even if they don't have the bandwidth, they would be able to share, contacts.
Yes.
They have a circle, you have a
Yes.
circle, they have a circle. They would share contacts from their circle to who can help you out, right? So to reach
Correct.
out to those people who can help you out. So it's important that you talk, you ask questions, you understand what is the skill that you want to learn.
Mhm.
And I keep saying this, I think I told you this when we talked about the book as well. There is no right or wrong time to start something new. There is no muhurt,
Yeah.
right? So there's a saying in Telugu. But I don't want to say
No,
that
you
out.
please
But
say,
no,
yeah.
but it basically means that there is no
You can say in Tamil,
right time.
not a problem.
It's okay. There's no right time for the right thing.
Okay.
When your mind tells you that you have to do this is the right thing. It's the right time. The thought that provoked you to do something new, the moment that thought has come in is the right time to do it.
Okay.
Right? So there's no right or wrong time to start something new. There's no right or wrong time to start learning something new.
Yes.
So go start doing these things is what I recommend. So these are multiple ways that new opportunity. You cannot always think I'll apply for a role and I'll see how it goes. And if I don't get selected, I'll start saying that, hey, probably I'm not good enough.
Or maybe the company is bad.
Or maybe the company is bad. I'll not get there yet. but
No,
without
these are the people's statement which I quoted. that
correct,
company
right?
is
So
bad.
without you understanding what is needed, without you learning that particular skill or a technology or a functional skill that you need to have, how can you decide either you're bad or the company is bad? Neither
It's just
of you
that the
are bad,
situation
right?
is there and you have to fix it.
That's all.
And you have to follow some steps.
That's it.
Which you did explain very nicely.
That's it. So you find something.
Yes.
That's your goal. That role could be your
And
goal.
how the steps you have to reach there, you have to make those steps and just climb over there.
Absolutely. Go old school. Start reading. Start writing. Start learning. AI. I think one brilliant thing that AI has brought in is the way that you learn things. I'll talk about corporate learning also in a minute.
Yes.
I was telling you earlier about how companies spend a lot of money on learning. I'll come to that.
Yes.
But what AI has done now is AI has brought learning to you for free. Right? Majority of the AI platforms, while they have limited free options that they give you, but you can learn from AI for free. Right?
Yes.
You can ask AI to teach you anything.
Yes.
And it would. Right? You need to just
It's just
know
a
how
one
to ask.
click. It's just a 1 second
Correct.
of enter button and
Correct.
there you go.
If you're bad at creating plans, you ask AI to create the plan for you.
Everything AI is doing.
It does for you, right? So that's a good thing AI has brought in, and I think people have to start utilizing it even to learn, right?
Yes.
Even to It's not just to write mails. I know like 90% of the corporate employees use AI to write mails. Let's be honest. I think
Yes.
that's what's happening.
That's what
But
happening.
even Copilot that you get in the office in several places, many people use that to just to draft them an email or review their emails that
Yes.
they've written, or summarize things for them.
Summarize things.
But you can use AI for a lot more things than that, right? So, and alternative to AI, I'll come back to the corporate companies spending a lot of money on trainings and learning platforms. Many of the employees don't understand this or know this. They need to focus on their onboarding. When they join an organization, during your onboarding, companies tell you clearly, we have an LMS. LMS stands for Learning Management System.
Yes.
Every company has
Every
a learning.
company has.
Regardless of whether it's a startup or it's a multi-billionaire company,
Yeah.
multinational company, every company would have a learning management
Yeah,
system.
I was a part of L&D
Correct.
as well.
Right?
Yes.
So the L&D team takes care of it. And it can be a small platform or it can be a huge platform, right? Like I've seen several organizations in the past who have onboarded third-party platforms into their LMS. Like Skillsoft gets onboarded onto
Yes.
companies' platforms.
And it is happening with the
Uh,
SMEs as well. I've seen a
Correct.
recent change. They
Correct.
hire like a bi-weekly, the trainer comes and train
Correct.
their employees.
So there are Udemy's, Coursera's.
Yes.
Companies are
Simply
spending
Learn.
money.
Yes.
Yeah, Simply Learns. Companies are spending money, paying hundreds and thousands of millions of dollars to these organizations like Coursera's and Udemy's and Skillsoft and all,
Yes.
to get onboarded as their preferred learning platform,
Yes.
and giving the opportunity to employees to go ahead and learn in those. Not many employees understand or remember that, because they only hear it at the part of their onboarding and they forget about it because they get into their day-to-day job, and they realize it only when this sort of
The deadline of the
layoff
trainings
and
are there.
it comes on, right? So people have to know that if you are interested in learning something new, you have to spend time on it to start with. Okay, companies are providing certain platforms for you. I'm not saying, let's say I'm a talent acquisition professional, and tomorrow, let's say I want to become something else. I want to go into comp and benefits. Let's say, example, compensation and benefits. The company would need to know whether it is good enough for me to get into that sort of role. So that's where my manager and a few of my mentors and all will come into picture. But company would give you that avenue to start learning at least. It might not give you the option to get certifications. Many people complain this, right? So I want to get certified on something, but my company is not paying for it. If that certification is not useful for your current role, why will a company pay for it? What is the return on investment that the company is getting? These might sound a little rude,
No,
but
this
these
is
are the facts.
correlated.
These are the facts.
Yes.
Company will spend money for you to learn basics,
Yes.
for you to get that core knowledge. Company will not spend for your certification if it is not related to your current role.
Right.
What am I as an organization getting out of it if you do, let's say you're a software engineer and you want to do, let's say, Scrum. I might pay for it because you can become a Scrum Master in my organization, and it will help me as me as an organization grow. My project will do well if
Yes.
an existing employee becomes a Scrum Master within the role. But if you want to go and do a HR certification, being a software engineer, or you want to do an
There's
MBA,
no correlation. That's what I
where
said.
is the
There's no correlation.
Correct. There's no correlation. There's no point of company paying for you. I want to do an MBA. Do it on using your money, no? So companies will give you. Every organization does give you the avenue to learn, the avenue to I wouldn't call it completely master the learning that you've done, but certain scope for you to master that skill or a tech. From there on, it's on you. If you as an individual think that this skill or this particular tech is really important for me, you spend time and money also on it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, if that skill is going to get your next job, the amount of money that you spend on mastering that skill would be peanuts.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
If you always expect organizations to do that for you, that's not
a wrong
right.
approach. And I've seen a lot of organizations, in fact, these days offering finances for your education as well.
They do.
Understanding
Yeah,
that
correct.
you are working professional and you have not completed your education. A lot of
Correct.
companies, and they deduct less amount from your
Absolutely.
salary every month. So there's a support given from the organization, but people are understanding that okay, we applied and we didn't get the job. So again, the company is at the red alert sign.
So that's what I'm saying. So when you talk about layoffs are not. again, I would be wrong, and people can judge me if I say this, but I definitely would be wrong if I say it's the employee's fault. It's not. It's not the employee's fault. There are circumstances that lead to layoffs, right?
Yes.
So and neither the company nor the employee would have probably guessed the circumstance like 2-3 years before the individual is hired. We would not have, right? The circumstances come in all of a sudden, or probably in 6 months' time. So it is upon the employee to understand that the employee is stuck. If the employee is stuck, it is upon the employee to take the points to the next level, where the employee would be responsible for their own growth, right? So the employee would need to decide, hey, I'm stuck, so this is a skill that I would like to learn. This is the position that I would like to be. It's upon the employee to identify a mentor for himself, or ask people how to identify mentors. Several organizations have this mentorship options available. So it's upon the employee to identify the mentor and ask relevant questions,
Yes.
right? So you cannot go ahead to a mentor and ask the mentor, how can I get promoted to your role?
Okay.
You probably would need to ask the mentor right questions like, this is my skill set, this is where I stand today, but I see that you're at that role.
Yes.
What are the missing links, right? How should I bridge those gaps? You should ask those questions, then start working on bridging those gaps and lay stepping stones for your success to go to that role.
Yes.
And that is something that I would say is on the employee. It's also on the organization to provide that opportunity or the support to the employee, but it's not completely on the organization as such. It is on the employee or the individual to do that.
Yes.
Because it's your personal growth, it's your professional growth, and you should be held responsible for that, is what I
Yes.
would say.
So, Vidya, what are your views on the hiring? So, there's a myth or the saying you can say that hiring is not happening on the skill. It is most of the favoritism or the referral, if you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
say the corporate referral. So, what are your views on this? Because people think that we have a skill, but we are not getting offer because there is a referral going on in corporate.
Let me expand on that question itself, right?
Yes.
So, not the answer. And I think when I speak with people also, they say companies only hire through referrals, man. I apply for many roles. There's a common thing that, in recruitment, people say, apply, no reply, right? So people keep
Okay,
applying,
that's a
but they
new
don't get.
thing I heard,
so
yes.
apply, no reply. So that's what particularly in Bangalore, we use that a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, so and it's not, and people are not wrong. People are right to think that they apply for 100, 200, 300 roles, but they don't get responses. There are multiple things that we need to talk about there, right? So the first thing is, does recruitment have bias? That's one. Are referrals the only thing that work? If you have to get a job, do you need to know somebody in the organization?
Yes.
The third thing is my skill worth nothing, right? So these are three things in your question. These
Yes.
are three things that I can hear, right? So I'll take one thing at a time. Before I do all that, first thing people need to understand is people in organizations, hiring managers and any project leads, project managers, people don't hire individuals to come in and do the role that they've already done.
Yeah. Okay.
People hire individuals to come and do what they want them to do.
The need of the company.
The need of the project,
Okay,
not of the company
project.
also, of that particular
Yes,
project. So
project.
let's say I'm a software senior software engineer, or let's say I'm an engineering manager, and I'm handling a big development project, and I have one part of the project that needs to be developed by some individual, and I don't have skill set anywhere in my organization. So what I'll do, I'll go out for hiring. You probably have done something in your past, and your skill might match what I'm doing here.
Okay.
Should I just hire you because of that? No. Do I know whether you would fit into what I'm trying to do here or not, is what I would need to understand as a hiring manager.
Okay.
So what people miss out on understanding is that people think, I have skill set A, B, C, the role needs skill set A, B, C. Why am I not hired? This is the common question, right? I suit that role so well, that's the perfect role for me. The role might be perfect for you, but are you the perfect person for that role is what you cannot decide, right? As an individual, the hiring manager would decide. And there are several parameters for the hiring manager to decide that.
Yes.
Before I even come to your three questions, I'll talk about this and then move on, right? How does a hiring manager or a team decide on whom to hire and what to look for when they hire? Like I said, there is a certain set of responsibilities that individuals want the new joiner to come and fulfill. That's one. There is already a certain cultural fitment in the organization, right? There are certain organizations which are dynamic, certain organizations which are calm, which are slow, smooth, going like a river.
Yeah.
Certain organizations which are stagnant. They've been here for hundreds of years, 100+ years, and they don't need to run at a faster pace. They know their business. So will the individual come and fit into that culture or not? If the company is a dynamic company, which makes its employees run on its toes, because the company also does. It's growing at a faster pace. And somebody who's chilled, relaxed, they have the skill, but who is lethargic, chilled, relaxed, they'll do their job, and that's about it. Would company hire that individual? They might not, right?
Might not,
like I said, there are several aspects, not just the skill, the roles and responsibilities which are related to that skill that you will come and perform. Are you capable of doing that? Only an interview and probably an assessment probably will tell us. The second thing is, are you culturally fit into the organization? That's something that we would need to check. The third thing, obviously, while several people don't talk about it openly, it's a compensation as well, right? You might be earning too high or too low. Some people think they're changing a job because they want to get market correction. What is market correction, right? So every job might have a certain particular salary range, but it is usually limited to that organization. Organization A might pay a particular skill set, a person with a particular skill set with X amount of money, but organization B might pay a lot more or a lot less.
Yeah.
It depends on what the individual is expected to come and do. And a lot of people think that comp is the reason why I'm rejected. Comp could be a reason why you're rejected, but it does not. Usually, 90% of the time, comp is not the only reason why you would be rejected.
And I think that's the last stage when we discuss on the comp part.
It's the last stage, but it also becomes a filter at the beginning.
Yes.
So right at the beginning, if you're already at a higher comp range,
yes.
Let's say we are offering, I'm giving out an example, 10 lakh rupees for a particular job.
Okay.
You're already sitting at 12 lakhs. Why would I expect you to come and do a 10 lakh
that
job?
is done already by the recruiters.
Absolutely, right at the beginning.
Yeah, the filter, the first stage which we do.
Correct.
It never comes to the last stage.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Right.
So
that's what the AI is doing now. The filtering
they're
out.
doing it. Correct. They're filtering
the
out
one
the
we
skill
were
sets.
Discussing in the previous
question,
points.
Right? So
yes.
It's filtering out the skill sets, it's filtering out the experience that the individual has, it's filtering out basis the compensation. But still, there are several organizations who rely on recruiters or sourcing specialists to do that, because they still want to give opportunities to more people rather than just rejecting them outright, right? So back to the questions that you asked. One, does recruitment have bias, right? Recruitment is a combination of several people. Recruitment process is a combination of several people. You have your recruitment team, which is your sourcing, screening, recruiter, recruitment admin, your TA manager. You have your people team, which is HR teams in most cases, HRBP, people partner, right? Those people are there.
Yes.
Then you have your actual hiring team, which is your business. So the hiring manager, his interviewees,
the technical managers,
the technical manager, the interview panel, the peers who will work with you.
Yes.
That's the hiring team. So these three sets of people together become your the core recruitment team, right? In total.
Right.
So when an individual goes through recruitment process, they have to go through all these three. Any individual who is being hired typically goes through all these three sets of individuals before they join an organization.
And that's a basic ask.
It's a basic ask.
Bare minimum we are
Very
asking.
bare. The technical or the hiring team, the basic hiring team will look at their functional skills, technical skills, the assessments that they do, case studies that they do.
Yeah.
They look at them. The recruitment team does the initial screening and post-interview offer stage, and all the recruitment team will manage. The people partner and HR partner typically, and sometimes the TA manager also looks at the cultural fitment.
Yes, and behavioral, your thinking capacity, lots of things.
All that
because
will fit
I've been there, so I know, step by step.
So we look at behavioral-based questions that we need to ask. We look at cultural fitment that we need to look at. Whether the individual will come in and fit into the set of individuals that we're hiring. The compensation, all that is taken care at that stage, towards the last level of that. So any individual in this lot can have bias.
Yeah.
If I say that recruitment processes don't have bias, or recruitment team does not have bias at all, I'll be completely wrong. Every human, every individual, you, me, anybody sitting here will have bias. I'll give you several examples, right? So when I was coming to this podcast, I thought I'll wear a hoodie. I was telling you just now.
Yes.
I'll wear a hoodie, and that hoodie would have Hogwarts on it. Because I'm a crazy Harry Potter fan. I'm a Potterhead, right? There are several times terrible bias. When I see, particularly when I visited England, UK for an office visit, and even when I interview people from UK, I used to assume everybody knows Harry Potter at least.
Okay. Now I can see the string getting attached.
Yes, it's a bias.
Yes.
I'm from Visakhapatnam. That's my hometown. The moment I hear somebody speaking or talking about Visakhapatnam, I assume they know which is my mother tongue,
Yes.
which is a bias. I studied from a particular college, let's say. This is what many hiring managers do. Let's say I've not studied from IIT. I've not been fortunate to do so. But let's say a hiring manager studied from IIT.
Okay.
IIT Bombay, let's say example.
Okay.
He sees somebody else coming from IIT Bombay to an interview. He'll be biased. I came out of that. The college is good. So the
Yes.
individual might be good.
Yes.
That's a bias. Right? We all have biases in us. It's about how we understand that we have biases, try to avoid those biases and get into the recruitment process. So like I said, every individual would have bias, right? So every person would have some sort of bias, and it is up to us as a part of the recruitment team that I'm talking, because we are in the recruitment process.
Yes.
It is important that this recruitment team together understands that they have bias, try to avoid bias as much as possible. This is where your training your mind also comes into picture.
Okay.
Right? Before you go into an interview, particularly when you go into an interview or when you talk conversation, forget interviews. When you talk to people, regardless of whether it's interview or a general conversation, there might be biases forming. While we speak also, biases might form.
Yes.
Oh, she's a woman, she got married a few years ago, she might have a kid. Should I ask that question or not? Back
Yes.
of your mind, those things run.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, those
Yes.
things run, right? So, when we talk about in interviews itself, one thing that we particularly ask, and I think everybody knows, is don't ask too many personal questions during interviews, because those will not affect the job of the individual. There could be certain things that might affect, certain things might not. So you need to know where you draw a line, right? So that's where your understanding of bias comes in. In our organization, every individual who has to interview has to go through a training
Yes.
to understand bias.
Okay.
And several organizations do this.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I've heard that these
Yeah.
things are happening at leadership, how to take
Correct.
interviews.
Anybody
and-
who has
yes.
to take an interview,
Yes.
regardless of whether you're a people manager or not, if you're a functional technical specialist and you have to interview somebody for a technical interview, you still have to do that bias training, because you need to know what thoughts that you get can affect the course of the interview.
Okay.
There's several kinds of bias, right? So it's really important that you know that these are the different kinds of bias that are there: confirmation bias, affirmative bias,
Okay.
right? So these are all unconscious. When we speak, you don't consciously are biased, right? So when particularly, let's say in these days, there are a lot of talks about people knowing a certain, let's say, a language. If you live in a particular city, you understand that language
Yes,
at least.
that is happening a lot.
You understand that
Yes.
language at least, right? People think that way, and it's important that they do also. But you're biased that they might not know.
Yes.
Have you asked? If you ask, you might know that they understand. So these are different scenarios. It doesn't need to happen only during a interview. It can happen in any conversation as such, that you are already biased. You already come up with a certain set of thought process, and you go into an interview or a conversation. So does recruitment process have biases? No, if the individuals are trained how to avoid it. Many organizations do that.
Okay.
Right? Many organizations set up these trainings. Many organizations help people understand that we might get into a biased confirmation or a biased thought during the course of the interview. So you need to be ready for that beforehand itself.
Okay.
How can you avoid it? We ask people to structure their interviews beforehand. Create a structure, create a script. I won't call it a script, not to be read out, but we ask them to create a structure. 5 minutes I'll do this. Next 5 minutes I'll ask this question. I'll take 5 more minutes for this A, B,
So
C.
this is
and all.
actually happening?
This
Getting
is happening in
trained? Okay.
organizations.
Okay.
People are asked to sit, and before they go into an interview, they are asked to create a small structure
To understand
for
the
their
mindset
interview.
of the
Not the mindset. For you to go in prepared.
Okay.
For you to go in to make sure that you're following a particular flow,
The rhythm.
the rhythm of the
Okay.
interview, to make sure that the other individual who has come in For you as an interviewer, it might be your 200th interview in that week.
Yes.
But for the other individual,
It's
it's
the
the first
first one,
interview.
yeah.
Right? You need to also give them
It's
the
a
good
do or
experience.
die. Yeah, that's how
right?
the mindset they come.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to be prepared to calm the other individual down. At the same time, don't let anything that the other individual says or talks, the interviewee who has come in to talk to you, don't let their thoughts or their basic conversation that you did with them come into your questions about their skill set.
Yes. Okay.
You need to ask particular questions about the skill set, roles and responsibilities, right? So make sure that you as an interview panelist are asking the right set of questions, looking for the right set of answers, and concluding the interview in the right
Related to the content only.
way. Related to the
with the boundary
with
set.
the roles and responsibilities of the job,
Okay.
bound within the ethical questions to be asked around,
Yes.
right?
Okay.
Don't go beyond a certain set of limits.
Okay.
You can ask if an individual is comfortable working in the night shift.
Yes.
Example.
Yes.
You cannot ask if an individual, hey, is your family comfortable? Will they stop you from working?
No.
I have seen people asking these questions.
Yes.
Right? If you're married, your husband might not be comfortable.
Yes.
How do you know?
And in fact, I have heard question that you recently got married to diversity. I've asked, and what are your plans?
Yeah, people ask that.
Yes.
Right? So
That
I
is very
think
personal.
I think nowadays people have become a lot more sensitive,
Yes.
sensible about these things. Not sensitive, but sensible about these questions as such, because organizations are putting that effort.
Yes.
So that's the first question, right? Recruitment, does it have bias? It used to. Even now it might, but we as organizations are trying to avoid that. We're
Okay.
trying to train people to ensure that there is no bias in the recruitment process.
Okay.
Every individual who is part of it is trained.
Okay.
Right? Don't assume things, ask things as such, right? So that's one thing that we definitely want people to know about. The second question you've asked is, do only referrals work? Nothing else. And I'll link it to the third question. Is my skill set not worth it? Referrals work for one reason. Let's say you joined my organization. I saw your work ethics. I like your work ethics. I like the way you worked. I understand that this work ethic might have come from your role in the previous organization,
Yes.
because they have brilliant work ethics probably, let's say. So when you refer somebody from the other organization, I would assume that they would also come in with similar ethics. Again, I am biased that way.
Yes.
But the only reason why I assume that is because you're already doing the job in front of me, and that assumption will only bring the individual to an interview, not
Okay.
beyond that.
Yes.
So referrals work in a way that if the individual is vouching, let's say you joined and you referred somebody, it will only ensure that you tell me about that individual skill set and how much you worked with them, how much they're capable of doing this particular job. It will bring them to us, it will give them a seat in the interview. It will give them a foot in the door. That's it. But up from there, it's the individual's responsibility it's upon the individual to clear the interview.
Yes.
It just because you were referred doesn't guarantee you a job.
Okay.
And I think I was talking to you,
Before the
behind
show, yeah.
behind the screens. I was
Yes.
telling you about referrals, right? Till date, I was not able to refer my wife or a friend or a family member of mine to a job successfully. Personal referral,
Okay.
because I cannot vouch for an individual's performance as a professional.
Okay.
Because I don't know. While I know my wife's work ethics are brilliant, but I don't know her technical skills as much as she would, right? It is up to her to be able to go into an interview and crack it. I took my wife as an example, but
Yes.
it's more about several friends who approach me
Yes.
saying, hey, can you refer me? I say, yeah, absolutely, I'll refer you. But it's up to you to crack the interview.
Yes.
I will just allow you, I'll introduce you probably.
Yes.
I'll introduce you stating he's my friend. I've either seen you professionally or personally. I'll state out the facts as they are to the hiring team. And I'll let them decide whether or not to proceed with you or continue with you.
So you
in the
think there is
interview
an
process.
expectation that, okay, if suppose Vidya is referring, suppose my profile in XYZ company, so I have this mental set that, okay, I'll not have to go through 1 and 2 round, I'll directly jump to the final and I'll get selected.
Oh, yeah.
Have you encountered these thoughts?
Several of them. But I'll give you a different example of one of my leaders, current leaders as well. What she has done, she has referred an individual to me because I was hiring for tech teams back then. But she pretty clearly asked me to send that referral in a separate email just to make sure that the hiring team is not biased that a HR leader has
Okay.
referred.
Okay.
So there is certain set of, there's a certain set of effect that it has, that a leader has referred. So I have to make sure that at least they clear 1-2 rounds of interview. She made it pretty clear that she doesn't want her name to come in till the offer is done.
Okay.
Right? HR people anyways don't get referral bonus.
No, we don't.
We don't get. So it's a myth that HR hires and they get money. They
And
don't
we
get
have
money.
lots of money. We don't
We
have.
don't have money.
Let's say it
Absolutely
on the camera.
not.
We don't have.
We don't get referral bonus.
We don't get.
So
We are just HRs.
yeah, we only are enablers, nothing else. Right? So she made it clear. She made it clear that she doesn't want to get involved anywhere in the process because it will influence the decisions of the other people.
Yeah.
It's a big leader that's referring. So because it's a big leader that's referring, I might be influenced by the decision that I may, because of her, I might have to influence my decision. She made it pretty clear that you should not. You need to make sure that you do not put my name anywhere in the referral till the last step. During the last step, you can tell them that it's referred by me.
Yes.
That's a good practice.
That's a good practice.
It's
And that's
good
very quite
practice.
professional
Yeah,
as well.
Absolutely. I have seen individuals in the past who say, hey, you're a global TA manager, man. You have influence in your businesses that you work with. You can push me at least till second round of interview. Final round, I'll crack. Technical round, I'll do it.
Yes.
But I get into a panic mode when I do HR interviews. You can crack it off for me, you can help me out. I cannot. So, like I said, I can only, not just me, anybody can, when they refer you, they can only give you, a foot into the door,
Yes.
right? They can only introduce you to the other team, the hiring team. They cannot do beyond, they should not do beyond that. That's where the third question that you asked will come as well, right? Is my skill not worth anything? Your skill is worth everything. Your skill is what will clear the interview for you. And your skill is where, which brings you to the interview table, and your skill is what will allow you to ask the relevant questions.
Okay.
So during an interview, one mistake people do is they always tell, I did this, I did A, B, C, I did, these many projects, I built that, I built this, I built so many teams. But what people don't try to ask during an interview, I have skills A, B, C, I saw your job description in a particular way. I'm really interested to understand how do you want to use these skills in this particular one. If you tell me that, I can probably answer the questions that you ask me a little better. So people have to ask relevant questions in the interviews also. Interviews are all not always one way. Let's say you're the interviewer and I'm the interviewee. You will not always ask me the questions and I'll just have to answer. That's not the way it should be. It should be interactive. It should be
It should be
a
both the
two-way
ways.
road, right? So as an interviewee, as an individual who's seeking out this opportunity, I need to ask those questions. And that's where my skill would be able to answer those questions that, hey, you have that particular project and you need 1, 2, 3 things to be done. My skill A suits thing B. My skill 2 suits thing C. Okay. So I definitely would match your opportunity as such. So you need to ask those questions also during these interviews.
So did you mean to say that the interview should not be only treated as an interview? It should be a conversation, a holding conversation?
As a panelist, I'm coming back to the organization which hires, it should allow the person coming in for an interview to ask questions.
Yes.
If they're not doing it, then there's nothing much the person who has come for an interview
It
can
means
do.
they're just doing the interview.
They're just doing the interview, right?
Okay.
So when I spoke about structural interview,
Yes.
withholding bias and all, one thing we make sure that when we structure interviews is leave at least 5 to 10 minutes for the candidate to ask questions.
Yes,
It
that
can
you
be
have any
during-
questions. Yes.
It can be during any point of the interview.
Yes.
We can ask them these questions. We can allow them to ask these questions during the middle of the interview, towards the end of the. Typically, we do it at the end of the interview.
Yes.
But we can ask them right at the beginning itself. We can tell them at any point of time you have questions, you can stop and ask me.
Yes.
Right? You allow the individual to ask questions. If the individual is not asking questions, then it's okay. It's their headache, right? Their problem.
Yeah.
It's not my
At
problem.
least we are
as an
giving the
interviewer.
room.
I'm giving the room.
I remember
there.
for one of my interview back then in my career, at the end I was given that, do you have any questions? And I actually had asked that you started this company with some 4-5 employees and now you are 200 plus. Tell me about your journey. And it did help me.
Yeah, it would, right? So, and during that questions that you ask, you might find something that you missed, which is
Yes.
relevant to them.
Yes.
And you might then be able to bring it up as well.
And you will understand
Right.
that what all tools company has used to grow from scratch to the high level.
Correct, absolutely. So it's important. It's important that both sides, as an interviewer, I should allow you to ask questions. As a candidate, you come in and you ask those questions that are relevant for you and the role as well. If you don't do that, you can always come out and say, hey, my interview didn't go well. The company has rejected me.
And the company is biased and
It
the
is
referral
biased.
is happening.
Yeah, they'll only hire through referrals. Trust me, if
Or
a
the HR is not working at the end.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
HR department never works.
Recruiter actually did
Recruiter.
not help me out.
We don't make rangolis.
No, we
No.
don't. So,
We
so
do a lot of works. Yeah, I want to say it on the camera. HR really does a lot of work. It's not
Yeah.
only about rangoli. It's about a lot of efforts which is unseen and unspoken.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So it's not only about the skills.
One last thing I want to also wrap around referrals is a company, any company, if you see, I am 100% confident they wouldn't be able to hire more than 30% of their people through referrals. That's the max. 30 to 35% is the max.
And
I would say.
that is the equation as well given to the
Correct.
recruiters that
Correct.
this much should come from mega drive, walk-in, referrals,
Correct.
and miscellaneous.
I would wish to have 100% hiring through referrals, but
Yes.
that's not how it happens, right? You will not always find the best candidate through referrals.
Yes.
So it's a myth that only referrals work. Referrals work, but referrals are not the only thing that work.
No,
Yeah.
because I remember for one of my organization, I was the employer referral spoke. So I know how this employer referral drive goes.
Correct.
And company is paying for each referral. Company is in loss. Company can hire, but still company is investing to boost the morale of the
Correct,
employees to
correct,
refer.
correct.
So it's not, so you mean to say there's no biasness as such, the myth?
Only referrals will work is a myth.
Yes.
Let's be honest with that. Recruitment process does have bias, but companies always keep working to ensure that that bias is out of the way in terms of an interview. We make sure that we train people, because recruitment process is run by humans at the end of the day, and humans have bias,
Yes.
right? Which means recruitment process will have bias.
Yes.
It's the organization and the recruitment team's responsibility to make sure that they withhold that bias. They train themselves, they train their mind to reduce that bias when they come into a conversation,
Okay.
and go into interviews with an open mind.
Okay.
Many companies do that. I am 100% sure that all the organizations in the market at this point of time understand this fact.
Okay.
And how much do they work is again, it depends on the organization as such.
Okay. So, Vidya, what are your views on the latest trend which is happening in the industry and the recruitment? Offer shopping and hopping. One person has offer 2, 3, and again, still they are hopping and shopping.
Okay. 2-3 years ago, I think, when the software industry was booming, post-COVID time, there's a saying in Bangalore: if you throw a stone, it'll hit the 15th software engineer who already has offer. So it'll hit the person it would hit would be a 15th software engineer, but
Okay.
all of them would have multiple offers in their hands
Oh,
already.
really? Okay.
That's how bad it was at that point of time. People had multiple offers. And I've seen this, people posting on LinkedIn, my current salary is 5 lakh rupees, but I have an offer in hand of 55 lakh rupees.
Where salary is very confidential part of your career.
It is, but people boast about it as well, so right. So, and that is only due to offer shopping as such, and people don't really think how would it affect others, right? So, I'll talk about why people think they have to hop jobs or shop for offers. They're two different things.
Yes.
We'll talk about offer shopping first, and then we go to job hopping. But offer shopping typically happens when you think your skill is on high demand, right?
Peak level?
Yeah. So let's say a couple of years ago, I've seen people who worked in SAP skills, tech skills like MuleSoft, banking tech folks, fintech folks, who's there's a lot of demand for those people, right? Those skill set was like high def sort of, let's say, and there are very limited number of people who were mastered in those skills, so they were in high demand. So what candidates used to tell us is, this is the only time that I can make money. 2 years down the line, the skill set might not be at that peak level, right? If I try to find a job at that point of time, I might not be able to find a job which will give me a lot more money,
Okay.
right? So when it's in boom, I'll try to do some shopping around. I'll identify, because the individual is confident of the skills. That's a good thing, that the individual is confident of their skill. They can crack multiple interviews, which is great. So they go out, they give out interviews in multiple companies, take 3-4 offers, show this offer to A, offer to B, and B offer to C, and keep increasing that till the moment they decide to join which company. And they don't tell the recruiters about this till the last day,
Yes.
right? They don't tell their decision till almost the last day, most of the times till the last day. That's offer shopping, which is a painful thing. Job hopping is the problem. Job hopping happens when people feel they're stagnant. I work for a year or two and I feel I'm stagnant. That's one thought process of why job hopping happens. The second process that has of why it happens is second thought process is that people think that I should not stay in a company for more than 2 years because that's the average tenure out in the market for my skill set. And a lot of my friends are moving. The people who I studied in school or college with is earning almost twice the amount of money that I am.
Okay.
So I need to move jobs. That's second thought process. The third one is I feel that I'm underpaid in my current organization.
Okay.
I need a market correction. In my organization, if I go back and ask them, hey, give me a market correction and increase my salary by 30%, no company is going to do that. Let's be honest. No organization will give you a 30% hike for an internal, not an internal move also, just for you to be
Especially
retained.
in this dry progression era.
So nobody will give you 30% hike is like very rare, right? Until unless you're like a hot bomb, nobody will be able to kind of let go of you. If we let go of you, my entire process will fall down. It'll crash. That's the only time you probably will get some retention and all. But otherwise, it's very difficult for people to get that 30-20% hikes that they expect.
Okay.
So they feel like they have to go out and get market correction happen, right? They'll go to another company, gets the increase in compensation. They'll try to come back either to this organization or move to another company to get some more hike on top of that, and then they try to settle down into that role. These two are problems, right? So both of them are not the right approach, I would say. I understand from a individual perspective, all of us work for money. Let's be honest. Why do we work?
For
Passion.
money?
No. I work to pay my home loan off.
Yes.
Right? I work to feed my family.
Yes.
Right? Particularly in India, majorly in India, many people come from that, that thought process where money is the one which gives you happiness at the end of the day, right? That's the thought process of people.
Yes.
And to some extent, it's true.
I think it's 100%.
So yeah, happiness can be sought out from other places as long as money is already sorting out some of my problems.
The mental piece is there when you
Yeah.
have a bank balance
Which is
defined and balanced.
Correct. So we all work for money. Let's be honest. There might be very few lucky individuals who have a decent amount of money in their back and still work for the sake of it. But majority of us work for money. And I would not blame the candidates who offer shop because they're getting better money outside. I think what companies need to do better in order for them to avoid offer shopping is to help people understand what will happen if they join our organization.
Okay.
Let's say I'm hiring for a particular role in my organization. I cannot always tell an individual that I'm hiring you and you'll get XYZ amount of salary. And that's the benefit you get. So he'll go to another company, he'll get XYZ plus 100, plus 1000, plus 10 lakh, etc. Right? I should be able to tell the individual what else would the individual gain if they join my organization. There are two kinds of gains that they can get. One is monetary gains.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
your compensation, which
Yes.
includes your salary, your bonuses. Some companies give shares.
Transport,
Transport, the medical insurances, allowances for
Yes.
night shifts and all, anything else, transport allowances,
extra
travel
perks you
allowances,
can say, the
any
package
extra perks, right? So these are all monetary benefits that you get, right? Your family being covered in insurance and
Yes.
hospitalization, etc. Everything will come under that monetary
In fact,
benefit.
now most of the companies are saying that you can refer your family members. Earlier, this policy was not there.
Correct.
Now
Correct.
the immediate family can work. Your
Can be
wife and the
referred.
brother, sister.
As long as you don't report to the same
same
manager.
project and the same manager. Now
You can
this
still
trend
work.
is also changing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So that is the monetary side of things. The other side of things is what are the values that you'll gain if you come here? What are the other things? Apart from monetary benefits, what else will you gain? Like, for example, if you work for a big organization, Maersk is a big organization. I work for Maersk. Maersk has its presence in over 100 countries across the world. So, huge organization as such. One thing we tell people, and this is not just relevant to Maersk itself, there are several companies who tell this to candidates who try to join the organization. With such big organizations who work in global setups, it is easy for you to become a global citizen.
Okay.
It is easy for you to understand the culture of different countries, work with people in different countries.
Okay.
You eventually, you never know, you'll go to that country and work there itself, right?
Okay.
Earlier, there used to be this trend of people traveling to US and settling down there. Now it has come down a little bit.
Yes.
But as an organization, you should be able to convey that message to the individual that not just monetary benefits, which everybody can give.
The cultural
We have
understanding.
certain unique values that we have,
Okay.
which you will come in and become a part of, and you will gain from that. It could be, gaining global exposure. It could be that being a big organization, or let's say, even if it's a small organization, how well will you be able to get opportunities for your next role within the organization? You should be able to convey those messages to them.
Right.
In corporate terms, we call that EVP, Employee Value Proposition.
Yes.
Every company has EVP, but are they selling it properly to the
No, I've never heard
candidates?
that.
Yeah,
I've
so
never
that's
heard.
what is a problem, right? Organizations should be able to do that. They should be able to tell people that you might want to go to a different company for money, but this is what we offer.
Okay, so now the companies do sell that you should have your passport mandatory, but why the passport is mandatory, that explanation is not given.
Yeah.
And the audience has the understanding that okay, just a verification so that we don't have any charges.
Not that, right? Not true. Not
Yeah.
true. It's not just that. We can find out about the charges in a different way, not
Yes.
just through passport. We have several ways to do it, but you rightly pointed out, right? If people can tell them why do we need certain things, people will be able to understand. Oh, this is why they need it. This is what will happen if I join this organization, right?
And if we work, the line, it should not only that you will join and you will
You'll get
go
it.
overseas.
No, absolutely not.
It's a continuous effort and your delivery as well.
Yeah, and people should be very upfront and straightforward. If there's no opportunity for the individual, if there's no possibility for the individual to travel abroad or go to a different role, they should be very upfront about it.
Yes.
And they should also talk about policies. Different companies have different policies about internal movements.
Yes.
Hey, after you work for 1 year or 2 years, you'll be able to move to a different role.
Yes.
You'll be eligible for a promotion. I've seen organizations where it doesn't matter how many months you worked for. 6 months you can get promoted.
Yes.
But
Even
I've seen
probation period also have lessened down compared
correct,
to
3
the
months.
back era days.
Correct.
Yes, I
6
have
months
seen.
used to be the probation period. 1 year.
1 year. 1 year
used to
I
be the
have
probation
seen.
period.
I was a part of 1 year
It
probation.
has come down to 3 months in some
But luckily,
organizations.
within 6 months, I was confirmed. So it depends on your work and the delivery.
Absolutely.
The people mindset is like, we are into the company, passport is there. Okay,
So I'll go.
overseas.
No,
Okay.
that's not. So people have to be very upfront, but help people understand what will they gain if they join a particular organization. You start doing it. I'm not saying office shopping will stop, but you will see that people will probably come and stick to you. I know I've not talked about this, but one thing, if you go back and notice my career, all the organizations that I've worked in till date are organizations which are 100 plus years old. I worked in HSBC, which is 100 plus now, even longer. I worked in 100 plus year old organization. I worked in AB InBev, which is a 100 plus year old organization.
Okay.
Maersk is 100 plus year old. But that's not the reason why I joined those organizations, right? I was able to, or rather than me, the individuals who were hiring me were able to convey the message properly that, hey, if you join us, this is what will happen to you.
Okay.
This can be your career path if possible.
The clarity, transparency
Absolutely.
was given to you.
Give an upfront answer to the questions that the candidate has. Plus, add what else can the candidate gain from the organization as such. What are the values that you can help the individual learn once they join us? What are the monetary benefits? Of course, monetary benefits that you have. Other policies. There's several organizations which give car lease as a policy.
Mm-hmm.
There are people who might be interested in that, right? So
Yes.
open it and showcase it to the candidates for them to decide which organization they need to join. But tomorrow, don't complain that, hey, that individual has 3 offers and he picked up another organization and not mine, when you have not done a good job in explaining why the individual should join you.
Okay.
So I think that's what organizations should take from offer shopping as a
Okay.
lesson. But for individuals, they should ask these relevant questions. Why is company A better than company B? Is it only compensation? Is it always only compensation? Sometimes, yes, compensation will drive,
Yeah, because I have seen the same skill. Company A is offering, suppose, something. The same skill the company B is offering more. Is it
Yeah.
because the ego hit is happening when they are seeing the offer letter of one company, the other company is seeing? Do you think so?
No, I
Just
wouldn't
to
say.
retain that employee?
Retain, yes, but I wouldn't, even if my ego is hurt, I would not be able to go beyond a particular salary
There's a
component.
budget.
There's always a budget,
the compensation
right?
budget.
I
in-
always
in
have
the
a certain
HR.
budget for me to
Yeah.
hire people in. It's not about ego. It's about whether I can afford the individual or not, and what the individual will bring in if I
Contribute.
get him. Contribute
Okay.
in, right? Will the individual fill my gap perfectly? Is what I need to understand. If the individual is actually sorting out the problem that I'm trying to sort out, I might want to go a little extra to get the individual in.
Okay.
Right? That's how people end up giving more compensation. It's not ego at all. Companies don't go for egos. They cannot afford to do that.
No, because I've seen from the individual, they disclose at the last moment of their date of joining that we have this offer.
Yeah, they
and
do.
if you want us,
Increase the comp.
give. So there's sometimes ego factor comes in the HR. I'm not targeting any HR here. I'm just trying to understand the situation. And they say that okay, now again we have to start from the scratch the entire recruitment cycle. Better we increase this person, ask and fulfill the need.
Let's talk from the recruiter side then.
Yes.
Okay. Some people call it ego, but I'll tell you what happens. You know this process, of
Yes.
course, but I'll tell your viewers what happens usually, right? So when people start hiring, the recruiters are given a particular job that you need to hire this individual within this given time, and usually the time is 30 to 60 days. In India, the offer release time, whenever the offer is released, people have to serve their notice period and come. And several organizations have 90-day notice period. The recruiters are already in pain. The recruiters are already kind of frustrated that they have to wait for so long
Yes.
without a guarantee that the individual would join or not.
Yes.
Right?
It's a game.
Yeah.
Notice
I've offered a
period.
candidate. It is already the recruiter's responsibility, recruitment team, I would say, not just the recruiter, but the recruitment team's responsibility to keep the candidate warm.
Yeah.
It's a recruitment team's responsibility to ensure that the candidate is informed about joining formalities and also that the candidate is engaged with us.
Yes.
And it obviously becomes the recruiter's fault if the individual did not join.
Yes. Okay.
That's how companies look at it.
Yes.
So now you understand from a recruiter's perspective, is it ego or is it frustration? It's not ego, it's frustration. If I offer an individual and last minute an individual is coming to me and telling me, hey, you need to change my offer. There is a process that every organization follows. The process might take from 1 day to 5 days. As a candidate, you don't know that.
Yes.
Right? As a recruiter, you know that pain.
Yes.
If Monday is your day of joining and Friday you come and tell me that I have a better offer.
That too in EOD.
At the end of the day, even at the beginning of the day, my offer approval process might take 5 days. How can I offer you by Monday?
Yeah.
It's not easy. So a recruiter's life is not easy. I am, okay, I might be wrong in saying this, but I'm a little fortunate that I've never been a recruiter in my life. I've managed recruiters throughout my life, but I've never been a recruiter. Sometimes I feel sorry for the recruiters because of the amount of pressure they go through.
Yes.
You have 30, 40, 50 roles that you have to hire for within a month. You do drives. Every weekend you do a drive. Weekdays you do drives. And on the date of joining, you don't see the candidate coming
And it's not only about hiring, it's about checking the mental balance of the person till 90 days.
Correct.
You never know when that person will flip.
Correct. So it's not ego. It is wrong to say that the recruiters have egos. It's right to say recruiters get frustrated.
Okay.
Because you come at the last minute. You cannot blame the recruitment teams for that. But the individuals, I would see, I'm sure even if we say this, even if Narendra Modi says this, nothing would happen. Candidates will not tell you till the last minute.
They will not.
They will not. Because they are afraid.
Even the ChatGPT can't say this.
Because if you're my recruiter and if I tell you that, hey, I have an offer 30 days before joining, you might say, then we are cancelling your offer.
Yes.
We have the option
We'll
of
start
doing
looking for.
We'll start looking for somebody else who will
the
come
show
in my
must
budget.
go on. See, there's a line
Correct.
in HR that the show must go on.
Correct. So the candidates will not tell you, regardless of whatever you do, candidate will not tell you till last minute.
Yes.
If there are candidates who tell you, like a month before they're joining, you need to say thank you so much. You're
Very lucky.
we are blessed to have a candidate like you.
I have never encountered such.
And it's not wrong from the candidate's part always, right? So, like I said, they have different perspectives. But from a recruiter's perspective, it gets frustrating.
Yes, it is
Last
indeed.
minute. It's not because it's just last minute. If the candidate does not join, if they're not able to get the extra offer approved or additional compensation approved, they'll have to work for the same 30 to 90 days to do the entire process again.
And it's tedious.
It's extremely painful.
It's painful.
Right?
Painful is still a very small word.
Yeah, I don't want to use such words here, but it is painful. It is painful. And that's where you need to show some empathy to the recruiters also.
Yes.
Right? Their job is not easy. Many people, and I myself, in these many people who tell recruiters that your job is technically a sales job. You're trying to sell the job and the organization to a candidate.
Yeah.
And if they buy it, they'll come and join you. It's not right. It's not the right analogy, but that's what is happening at the end of the day.
Yes.
But it's not an easy job. People think that, and not just recruiter, not just talent acquisition jobs, any HR job that you look at, is not easy. It's not. And you pointed out Rangoli earlier.
Yeah.
I moved into a new flat a couple of years ago, and I told one of my friends that I just met there that I work in HR. Oh, so you do rangolis?
Yes.
Like, oh, what do you mean by that? No,
So-
he immediately said it's a joke,
Yeah.
but it's a common joke,
But
right?
it's in the back of the mind that HR is Rangoli. We
So
are not
it's
Rangolis.
a common joke,
Yeah.
that
Yes,
you
we
do
can
these
make
activities.
Rangolis once the candidate gets onboarded successfully.
Absolutely. But yeah, HR does a lot of things, and it's not an easy job like it looks outside. There's a lot of, not
Patience.
just.
A lot of patience.
Yeah, there's a lot of patience, there's a lot of concentration, focus that you need to put on the job. There's a lot of physical activity that also happens because you do weekend drives. You run up and down
Yes.
to get your candidates into interview rooms,
And
get the
still
interview
being
done.
calm, which I have learned that still being calm.
Absolutely. You cannot shout on anybody.
No.
Neither on the candidate nor on your hiring team.
Not
Both are
on
important.
yourself even.
Yeah, you go into the washroom, shout on the mirror and come back. That's all you can do, right?
Yes.
But it is a difficult job, and if this Gen Z is interested in recruitment is a brilliant job. It is tough. It will play with your mindsets, but it is a brilliant job to grow you as an individual, right? As a personal, it helps you in your personal growth. So I encourage Gen Z,
Yes.
Gen Alpha, whoever is coming up next, to pick up recruitment and work, help recruitment become better, if that's the case, right? But definitely recruitment is something that I definitely recommend people to work on.
So I am hoping with this conversation we will have less offer shopping and of course the hopping.
I doubt it, but yeah, I'm hoping people would understand the
At least
problems on both ends,
with
right?
one person we can start with the change.
Definitely. And job hopping too. A couple of points that I will add about job
Yes.
hopping, because I think I missed out on, we went off topic there. But in terms of job hopping, one primary reason, like I said earlier, that people want to move jobs is because they feel they're stagnant. Their role has become, I wouldn't call it redundant, but it became a routine.
Okay.
What they do has become a routine. It's all on autopilot.
Yeah.
There's nothing new for you to do. That's when the earlier topic of learning also will come into picture. We talked about four phases,
Yes,
right?
we did.
Right? Joining and learning. Then we talked about mastering. Then showcasing that you're a master, and then grooming and finding a mentor for yourself also. That's where the fourth point will come. Once you made sure that you are a master of your skill, you showcase that you're meeting all your KPIs, you're meeting all your goals, targets. You need to start making sure you identify a role within the same organization. I would recommend that. I might be a little biased about it because any organization that I work with, the average minimum tenure that I worked with is close to 3 years.
Okay.
Maximum is 8 years. I worked with for 8 years. I'm hoping that Maersk also gives me such opportunity that I work for a long period. But I like sticking to a particular place. It's not because I'm in a comfort zone. I'm definitely not in a comfort zone. It's more because it allows me to build relations.
Okay.
It allows me to build a ladder towards my career path within the same place. I build one thing here and I have to hop from here to there. What is the guarantee that you will get the similar opportunity that you built here in the other organization? There are no guarantees
There is no
in life.
guarantee. No.
Right? So if you build relations in one place, if you try to kind of ensure that you bridge your gaps in the same place, you identify your problem areas, you learn how to sort them out, find solutions from different people, bridge those gaps, you will be able to find opportunities within the same organization if you want to.
Okay.
Yeah, many people, and it's not wrong, many people say that if you grow internally, your compensation will not grow as high as it has to, which is true. I agree, which is true. But compensation is not always the only thing that you need to look
After
for.
you reach a certain level, I feel.
Yeah, probably, right? So
Yes.
you probably will get better opportunities, better compensation, not opportunity, but better compensation if you go elsewhere. But that peace of mind, the
job security.
the job security that you have, the relationships that you built in your existing place, for most of us, office is our second family.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm not trying to get anybody into a guilt party here or a guilt ride here. But if you are planning to leave, you built a family here and you're planning to leave and go, it doesn't work always for you, right? It's not easy to do that.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you'll have to build again the same relationships in a new place. I'm not saying you should stick to one company forever and all. No, I'm not saying that. But you need to have a valid reason for you to move away from your existing
Your networking should be
organization.
strong.
Absolutely. You need to have a very strong reason for you to job hop.
Yes.
Move from one job to another.
Yes.
Right? If you don't have a strong reason tomorrow when you do interviews, these days I don't think many people are asking that question, but when I usually do interviews, I ask this question as to why did they not stick to one particular organization for more than a particular period of time. And the reason why I ask this question is for me to understand not how much time they'll spend in my organization, but what could be the reasons why the individual has left, and do my organization also have the same problems, or can I sort some of those problems for myself or and for my organization, right? So that's something that I try to ask when I talk to people. If you don't have a strong reason, I would recommend people to build that stable career in one place. Our fathers did it.
Yes.
They lived comfortably. People
No,
will
now
get the wrong message.
things are changing, and we are
Correct.
just taking example that
Correct. So we should make sure that people have a good reason for moving jobs.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will start raising questions about their stability, their, I won't call it their character, but their reasons for moving will be questioned in general. So people should always try to see if they can identify a role within the organization. If they cannot, is when they look for something outside of the place. Otherwise, I would recommend people to have longer tenures in organizations. Spend there. You'll like it. I'm not talking about loyalty, because I think now it is right for people to say that you should not be loyal to a company as such in general. You should be loyal to the work that you do. And I'm also saying that you should be loyal to your professional growth, and the professional growth can happen in the same company as well. It doesn't need to be outside the company. So as long as you identify those problems, you should be able to sort it out.
So it was great having you on the show, Vidya, and really thank you so much for coming over. So I really want to know your experience about Noble being here, the summary of the discussions. Over to you.
Yeah, so
it's your day.
Thank you. But thank you so much for having me here. I think the questions that you're asking are pretty prevalent out in the market. People ask these questions, but not in the right forums probably. And I think you're giving them a forum to ask such questions and get answers out of people who are in the business as such. So that is brilliant. Thank you for doing that. And in general, if I have to just summarize what we have had discussed today, in general, is that one thing I think people talk about, change being constant. Change is always constant. Change is probably the only constant thing in the world. And people need to embrace it in the way that it would suit them well, right? So change should be in the way that we look at our career. The change should be in the way that we look at the job that we do. Change should not just be in hopping jobs from one to another. Rather, change should be in the way that we improve our skills. I'm currently in a skill A or skill B, or a tech skill A or B. What am I changing in that, right? So it should be something which is relevant for you. It should be something which will help you grow as a person and as a professional as well. And I think I'm hoping that the conversation that we had, particularly in terms of learning, particularly in terms of how can you kind of master your skill and try to look for opportunities within the organization, or try to find a mentor. I'm hoping that that's something that people will take away, and even if one person improves their personal or professional career because of this advice, I think it would make my day.
Yes.
But thank you for having me here, and thank you for letting me tell people about my book.
Yes.
I'm hoping that people
I'm
would
looking
get
forward
to
to read your book.
Absolutely.
And we wish you all the luck for the next book, and please keep on writing.
I would definitely love to, and probably once I get my second book in, I'll probably come back to you again.
Yes. So I just want to show to my audience
please.
that this is the book written by Vidya Sagar. Please go ahead. There's a copy in the market you can buy, and you can go online as well,
Yes,
right?
Amazon,
and you can
Flipkart.
have a read. So please give your comments. So because Vidya has really put all his efforts to read about the book. So grab your copy. Thank you so much. And once again, to all my viewers and listeners, stay tuned for the next episode on The Noble, and take care.